Welcome to the Fantasy Football Forge. My name is Steve, and it is time for week 1 of the fantasy football season. We will be looking at the quarterback rankings in this video. Not a whole lot here different from the expert consensus ranking, so hopefully this will be a pretty quick video. Couple of announcements at the top here. First of all, I do projections, but I need some data points to do that. So for the first 3 weeks, my rankings here will just be kind of more freestyle than once we get into things. If you were with me last season, you have seen my projections. I will have first an expected floor and expected ceiling, which is a nice chart that you could use in the event that you are in a hole and you're looking for your Hail Mary shot in a week, or if you're feeling good about your team and you're just trying to decide between a couple of players who's got the better floor. That's a nice statistical way to figure that out. And then I do have expected range of outcomes, which is the most likely range that a player will score within each week, which helps to create my own rankings. That said, in either case, my rankings do get updated throughout the week, so you can find my rankings up at the website, which there is a link down in the description, and just right below me right now, you can also see the website www.theffforge.com, where you can find the updated rankings throughout the week, all the way through Sunday. And on Sunday morning, you can also come and join me for start sit lineup advice. You can come and hang out, or you can just come and ask a question and leave, whatever works for you. But I will be live 1 hour prior to kickoff. Last thing before we get into the rankings for week 1, I was curious if you would be interested in a live show, a live stream, probably like Friday nights, where you can help to set up my lineup. And so at the end of this video, I do have a couple of questions that I would be interested to hear who you think I should be starting at a couple of spots in my lineup this coming up week. With Cooper Kupp probably not playing, that really makes things all the better for me. But in those live streams, let me know if you'd be curious about having that. We could also talk about, cover any updates throughout the week, injury news, those kinds of items. And of course, we could just kind of hang out and talk football, maybe some DFS stuff, wherever the chat room brings us kind of thing. So let me know about that if you're interested. We could look into doing that. And with that, let's start off with my top 6 rankings. So I'm going to go through my top 18 rankings, but if you need more than that, or if you just want to see any of the updates potentially happen throughout the week, you can check them out once again up on the website. But my QB1 this week is Patrick Mahomes. My QB2 is Jalen Hurts. QB3, Lamar Jackson. Justin Herbert in at 4. Josh Allen, 5. And 6th, we have Justin Fields. So I will say, originally I had Lamar Jackson over Jalen Hurts just because it's an easier defense. I thought about it again. At the end of the day, I think that the first half, Lamar Jackson probably has a better first half fantasy points-wise than Jalen Hurts. But at the end of the day, which game's going to be more competitive, which game's going to probably rely on the quarterback rushing a little bit more and passing a little bit more, I think that goes to Philadelphia versus New England. Baltimore versus Houston should be over relatively quickly. Should be. We'll see. Then Justin Herbert, Josh Allen I have flipped. But, these top guys, there's almost no way that you have 2 of them. Start your studs this week. And I'm going to say that goes right up through Justin Fields. Like, these guys are no-brainer starters. Then I do, once we get into the next 6, top 12 here, I have a couple of changes that maybe, depending on how you drafted, you might have 2 of these guys. You could have Tua and Joe Burrow. And this week, Miami going up against the Los Angeles Chargers. I expect that to be a bit of a barn burner of a game. And so I'm excited for the upside in that game. You combine that with Joe Burrow maybe not being at 100% health. And I think Cleveland's defense should be solid this season. Not that I think any defense can really stop the Cincinnati Bengals, but I'm looking for the upside just a little bit more here with Tua in week 1 going up against the Chargers. So I do like him as my QB7, followed by Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence at my QB8. Between these 3, it's incredibly close. Trevor Lawrence ends up falling to the back, sort of similar to the Lamar Jackson ideology here. Expect them to probably turn to the run game relatively early on in that game, or at least heavily throughout the game. That's my feels on them. Then we have Kirk Cousins in at QB10. I do think that this has potential to be a high-scoring game, and the Minnesota defense isn't that great. We have a lot of concerns about that Tampa Bay offense, but it has not looked terrible in the preseason here. So I think Kirk Cousins is a solid safe bet, as he is most weeks. Then we have Aaron Rodgers in as my QB 11. This is like the Super Bowl for the New York Jets, it feels like. And I think that this game also could be a really high-scoring game. Offenses tend to have the advantage in week one. Defenses are kind of playing behind the eight ball. There's really no film to go off of yet. A little bit of preseason stuff, but that's why offenses are vanilla in the preseason. So I'm really high up on the potential for Aaron Rodgers this week. And as you can see, I have him 7 spots ahead of the ECR. ECR has him at quarterback 18. Quite bold on him, but I think he'll pay off for you this week. And I think the floor is really high too, just because it should be a good game. It should be a good game. Then Geno Smith in at QB 12, and for my final 16 quarterbacks, we have Daniel Jones in at my QB 13, Deshaun Watson at QB 14. Why did he fall here a little bit? I think what it came down to here is I feel just a little bit more comfortable week one with these guys over Deshaun Watson, but it's also really close between these four. Heck, Jared Goff going up against Kansas City. I think Detroit's going to give them one hell of a game, and I would feel comfortable putting really any of these guys out there down to Anthony Richardson this week. Dak Prescott, I do have 5 spots below the ECR. So, by the way, Aaron Rodgers is clearly a love him. That's why I have this highlighted in green. Still getting used to this new format for me. And then Dak Prescott is going to be my fade-em for the quarterback position. I just want the upside of a lot of these matchups over Dak is really what it comes down to. I don't think Dak will have a bad game. So like I said, all these guys, really, especially down to Dak, I have very, very close to one another in terms of my thoughts on them. But at the end of the day, who am I fading? Obviously, it's going to be Dak Prescott. And then Anthony Richardson in at QB 17 and Russell Wilson in at QB 18. Going up against Las Vegas. Not a bad matchup there, but Jacksonville is probably going to pour it on Indianapolis. And so I think I'm excited about the upside of Anthony Richardson, and I'm comfortable enough in what should be a high-scoring offensive for the Jacksonville, giving Indianapolis plenty of opportunities on offense to try and do things, maybe get some garbage points, and of course that rushing work. Whereas, let's wait and see it from this Denver offense. Really, this comes down to the injuries for that offense. Otherwise, I'd be a little bit higher up on Russell Wilson this week. A couple of DFS options for you. For me, is going to be, first of all, Justin Herbert going up against Miami. I'm very excited about the prospects of that game. And so, if you're not looking to go dirt cheap at your quarterback spot, but you don't want to spend up for some of these more expensive options, I'm sure Josh Allen probably costs more than him. I think you can get a slight discount for Justin Herbert this week, and I don't see that not being a high-scoring game. Then Baker Mayfield is my DFS, saving a bunch of money at the quarterback spot. I think that Tampa Bay, who are they going up against? Minnesota, bad defense. A lot of weapons for Baker to work with. I'm optimistic about it going into week one here for that offense, and you will see, I believe I have DFS buys at tight end and running back for them too, and I have the wide receivers ranked fairly well, especially compared to my draft rankings for those guys. So I'm pretty optimistic about that offense as a whole this week. And that'll bring an end to the quarterback rankings. Do have one question before you head on out here. Pick one. I need a wide receiver, 2, a running back 2, and a flex. Out of Tyler Lockett going up against the Rams, Jahan Dotson going up against the Cardinals, Brandon Ayuk going up against the Steelers, Raheem Mostert going up against the Chargers, and Samaje Perine going up against the Raiders. Thank you very much for your input. I will take it seriously if we get a few people commenting on that. And other than that, let me know. Let me know about doing a live stream on Friday nights if you'd be interested in that as well. Thank you very much. Good luck this week. And if you have any start-sit questions, feel free to drop them in the comments or join me on Sunday. Bye-bye.